Okay, so are we ready to jump into the world of jazz today?
Let's do it.
All right. And we're talking Tia Fuller, Grammy-nominated saxophonist. She's a professor at Berklee College of Music. You've probably heard her music in more places than you realize.
Oh, yeah. Her career really spans, well, some pretty diverse musical landscapes.
Mm-hmm.
From playing with, Beyoncé to contributing to Pixar's Soul.
And all while staying rooted in jazz.
Exactly. It's not easy.
No, but it's quite a story, right?
It is.
So let's start with her roots. Both of her parents were musicians.
Okay.
Her dad was a bassist and her mom was a singer.
Wow.
Imagine growing up in that house.
Can you imagine?
And then she starts classical piano at age 3. Then she picks up the flute. Then she's playing the saxophone in high school.
Clearly a natural.
Clearly, right.
Yeah.
And then to make things even more interesting, her sister, Shamie Royston, is also a jazz musician, a pianist.
Oh, wow.
And they collaborate a lot.
That's so cool. Bringing that shared history,
It's like a family affair.
Yeah, adds a whole other dimension to their music.
Totally. So speaking of shaping her sound, Fuller studied at Spelman College, a historically black women's college.
Okay.
And get this, she got to perform with Ray Charles while she was there.
What?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Like a master class.
Performing with, like, a legend like Ray Charles at that stage in her career.
Yeah.
I mean, that just shows that her talent and drive were, like, recognized right away.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
Then, boom, she joins Beyoncé's all-female band, world tours, Grammys, performances at the White House, the whole thing.
It's like the whirlwind of mainstream success.
Totally. But here's the thing. Through all of that, she never stopped leading her own jazz quartet,
Oh, wow.
often featuring her sister on the piano.
That's cool.
So she's got that parallel career.
Right. And, it would have been so easy to get swept up in just, the pop world, everything. But she's clearly so dedicated to jazz. And that commitment really shows in her solo albums. I mean, we have Pillar of Strength, Healing Space, Decisive Steps. Like each one's a step, in her evolution as an artist.
And then Diamond Cut comes out in 2018.
Yes.
Grammy-nominated,
Big one.
produced by Caroline Carrington.
Yeah. Another legend?
And it features jazz icons like Jack DeJohnette and Dave Holland.
Wow.
I mean, this isn't just an album.
Right. It's like a statement.
It really is. So Diamond Cut is fascinating for a lot of reasons. It highlights, her compositions, they're intricate, right? And her technical mastery on the saxophone.
Oh, yeah.
But also her willingness to kind of push the boundaries of jazz. You get those elements of, what they call post-bop in there.
Post-bop, yeah. That's a style that emerged mid-'60s, kind of, pushing beyond bebop and all that.
So not just like sticking to the basics, bringing in those newer influences.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, before we go deeper into the music, let's talk about another side of Tia Fuller. Because you don't just play with Beyoncé and then become a professor at Berklee, shaping the next generation of jazz musicians if you're not passionate about education.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like she just plays scales and chords, right? She brings that unique experience, to the classroom. It makes you think, like, I wonder, does she encourage her students to also kind of embrace that versatility, like breaking down those genre barriers?
It's a good question. It's something we should think about, I think, as we look at her work, right?
Yeah.
But it's clear that she's not just performing, she's actively, like, shaping jazz through education.
That's amazing.
And she leads masterclasses around the world,
Wow.
driven by that desire to share her knowledge.
And let's not forget her advocacy work.
Oh, right.
She's such a strong voice for, women in jazz and pushing for more diversity and representation in the industry.
Yeah.
So she's not just breaking down, musical barriers, but societal ones as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not just about playing the music. It's about making sure everybody has a chance to play it and thrive.
Yeah.
So, we're starting to get this picture of Tia Fuller.
Yeah.
Musician who's comfortable on stage with Beyoncé, comfortable in a jazz club, comfortable in the classroom, shaping young minds.
It's amazing.
It really is. And we've only just scratched the surface.
No.
There's so much more to unpack.
Can't wait. And you can really hear that in her music.
Yeah.
It's not just jazz, it's her own blend of influences, you know what I mean?
No.
You've got elements of post-bop, those complex harmonies and rhythms, but also little hints of R&B and even gospel in there.
Right. It's not just about recreating the past. It's about bringing all those influences into something new.
Exactly.
You mentioned post-bop earlier, and I think it's worth explaining that a bit more for people who might not be familiar with all the different flavors of jazz.
Sure, so picture this.
Yeah.
You got bebop, right? That fast, improvisational style from the 40s.
Right.
Post-bop comes along in the mid-60s and builds on that, but it stretches the boundaries a bit. So think more complex harmonies, modal scales, a greater emphasis on individual expression, that kind of thing.
So a bit more freedom to experiment within the framework of jazz.
Exactly, yeah. And Fuller really incorporates those elements, but what's cool is how she balances that with a deep respect for the tradition. You know, she's not throwing out the rule book, she's just kind of expanding it.
And Diamond Cut feels like a great example of that. You can hear the technical skill and the complex arrangements, but there's also like this raw emotion that comes through.
Oh, absolutely. And the interplay between her saxophone and the other musicians, especially Jack DeJanet on drums and Dave Holland on bass,
Wow.
it's like a conversation unfolding in real time. They're listening, they're responding, pushing each other further.
You mentioned DeJanet and Holland. Those aren't just any musicians. Those are giants in the jazz world.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, DeJanet played with Miles Davis. That says something about the level Fuller's operating at.
Right. It's not random, these collaborations. I mean, it speaks to the respect she's earned within the jazz community.
For sure.
These are partnerships built on mutual admiration and a shared passion for the music.
Yeah, and I think that passion is a key ingredient in Fuller's success. It's clear that she's not just going through the motions. This is music that comes from a deep place.
From everything I've read, she's incredibly dedicated to her craft. She has a rigorous practice routine, a constant desire to improve, and that dedication translates into her teaching as well.
Right, we talked about her being a professor at Berklee,
Yeah.
but she's also sought after for master classes all over the world. Imagine being a young saxophonist and getting the chance to learn from someone who's played with Beyoncé and jazz legends alike.
What an opportunity.
Hmm.
It goes beyond just the technical aspects of playing, you know? She's teaching them about stage presence, about navigating the music industry, about using their platform to make a difference.
And that's where her advocacy for women in jazz comes in. It's not just about playing the music, it's about making sure everyone has the opportunity to participate, to make their voices heard.
Exactly. She's a role model, not just for aspiring musicians, but for anyone who's trying to break down barriers and create a more inclusive world.
So you've got this picture of Tia Fuller, performer, composer, educator, and advocate. It's a lot to juggle, but she seems to do it all with this infectious energy and enthusiasm.
I think that's something that really draws people to her. It's not just the music, it's the person behind it.
Yeah.
You know, the passion, the dedication, the genuine desire to connect with others through her art.
It makes you wonder how she reconciles those different worlds, the high energy, massive crowds of a Beyoncé tour, the intimate setting of a jazz club, the focused intensity of the classroom. How does she shift gears and bring her full self to each of those environments?
That's a great question, and I think it speaks to her versatility, not just as a musician, but as a person. She's able to adapt to different settings while staying true to her core values, and that authenticity shines through in everything she does.
It's like she's found a way to integrate those different aspects of herself into a cohesive whole. It's not about compartmentalizing, it's about finding the common thread that runs through it all.
I think that thread is her passion for music, whether she's on stage with Beyoncé, leading her own quartet, or teaching the next generation of jazz musicians. It's clear that music is at the heart of everything she does.
And that passion is infectious. It makes you want to dig deeper into her work to explore the full range of her artistry. It's like she's inviting you on a journey, and you know it's going to be one worth taking.
And that journey is far from over. She's still relatively young, and she's constantly evolving as an artist. It's exciting to think about what she might do next.
Absolutely. She's already achieved so much, but it feels like she's just getting started. What direction do you think she might take her music in the future?
Well, if her past is any indication, she's not afraid to experiment. I wouldn't be surprised if we see her collaborating with artists from even more diverse genres, pushing the boundaries of jazz even further.
I could see that. Imagine her working with a hip-hop artist or an electronic musician. The possibilities are endless.
Exactly. And I think that's what's so exciting about Tia Fuller. She's not content to rest on her laurels. She's constantly pushing herself, exploring new ideas, and challenging our preconceptions about what jazz can be.
It's that kind of creative spirit that keeps the genre alive and evolving. It's not about clinging to the past, it's about building on those foundations and taking the music to new and unexpected places.
And Fuller is definitely a leader in that movement. She's not just playing jazz, she's shaping its future.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what are some of the key takeaways you'd like listeners to ponder? What makes Tia Fuller such a compelling figure in the world of jazz?
I think one of the biggest takeaways is her ability to bridge different worlds. She's comfortable in both the mainstream and the avant-garde, and she uses her platform to advocate for greater inclusion and diversity in the music industry.
And she does it all with this incredible grace and humility. She's not just a talented musician. She's a genuine person who's using her gifts to make a positive impact on the world.
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes her such an inspiring figure. She reminds us that it's possible to achieve success without compromising your values, and that music has the power to bring people together and create positive change.
Well said. So with that in mind, let's move on to the final part of our deep dive into the world of Tia Fuller. We've explored her roots, her musical evolution, and her impact on the jazz community. But there's still so much more to uncover, and I can't wait to see what insights we'll glean in the next segment. It's really fascinating how she just navigates all these different musical, realms. It makes you wonder, right? Is it better for an artist to specialize or to be adaptable, explore all kinds of styles?
It's the question, right?
Yeah.
I think it really comes down to what drives their creative spirit.
Yeah.
For some people, it's about finding that voice within a specific genre.
Right.
But for others, like Fuller, it's about the exploration,
And that exploration really seems to enrich her music. You hear those threads of R&B, gospel, even classical woven in.
It's remarkable how she does it without, diluting the essence of jazz. It's not just blending for the sake of it.
Yeah.
There's a real purposefulness, deep understanding of how those elements interact.
It's like building bridges between all these different musical worlds.
Yeah, and it goes beyond the music too, right?
Right.
Think about her role as an educator.
Yeah.
I mean, she's introducing young musicians to this rich history of jazz, but she's also encouraging them to push boundaries, find their own voice.
That's got to be so empowering for those students.
Oh, absolutely. To learn from someone who embodies that balance of tradition and innovation.
Totally. And it shows how much she believes in the future of jazz.
Right.
Not just preserving the past.
Yeah, shaping it.
And she's doing it while pushing for, representation and inclusivity in the jazz world.
Exactly. She's not just breaking musical barriers, she's challenging societal norms.
It's powerful. It resonates. People are drawn to her, authenticity, her passion, her commitment to actually making a difference.
Yeah.
So thinking about Tia Fuller's journey, what do you think her legacy will be?
I think she'll be remembered as, a trailblazer,
Yep.
an innovator,
Yeah.
an inspiration, really. Someone who just, redefined what it means to be a jazz musician now.
Someone who showed you could have mainstream success and still have your artistic integrity.
Absolutely.
Use your platform to lift others up.
And that jazz is a living, breathing art form.
Yeah.
It evolves, it adapts,
Yeah.
reflecting all these diverse voices.
So well said. Tia Fuller's story is really a testament to, passion, perseverance, and belief in a better future, I think.
I think so, too.
It's a story that inspires us to, embrace our own unique journeys, push boundaries, use our voices to make a difference.
And if you're feeling inspired, go explore her music.
Yeah.
Listen to her albums, see her live, discover the magic of Tia Fuller for yourself.
You won't be disappointed. This has been such a great deep dive, and I hope it's, sparked some curiosity in you to explore jazz. It's a genre filled with incredible artists who are, pushing boundaries, challenging conventions, creating music that speaks to the soul. So go out there, discover new sounds, and let the music move you.